As we march into 2016, wearable tech continues to be an area that shows great promise and room for advancement. Hey folks, here at OS Reviews. You're checking out our video review of the Wellograph. This is a smart fitness tracker with a transflective LCD display that's currently selling for $300. Now the price point is a little steep, but the manufacturer claims that this is not just a fitness tracker, it's also a fashionable timepiece and also a classic watch. It comes in multiple colors and options that you can customize it with, and included in the box is this pretty fancy leather strap. However, with more and more competition from the likes of Apple and also from Samsung, the biggest question is whether or not Wellograph can manage to stand out. First, we'll take a look at the design. Now, there's no denying that the Wellograph certainly looks like a classy timepiece. Although the front features edges and borders that are slightly thicker than I'm used to, overall it is very shiny and beautiful to look at. On the sides you have access to chrome, and the front is actually coated in a layer of crystal, which the company claims resists any fingerprints as well as scratches. And in our testing, it certainly did work pretty well. It resisted any scratches and dings in the week that I wore it, and in addition it seems to be also pretty visible under direct sunlight. With that being said, the chrome material is going to attract a few scratches, as you can see there. The bottom of the watch is crafted primarily out of aluminum, and it feels extremely sturdy and reassuring. And for a smart wearable, it's also reasonable in size. It doesn't look too out of hand, and it's definitely comparable just to a standard timepiece. In terms of the design, I would say the Wellograph compares most similarly to the Pebble watch, just because it shares that same look and feel in the hand, as far as dimensions as well as that screen size. However, the Pebble does use an electronic e-ink display that conserves battery, and so the Wellograph just uses this traditional LCD display. But that's not to say the Wellograph doesn't have great battery life. In fact, it lasts over 7 days on a single charge, which is outstanding. The included charger works via magnets. It basically pops into place and you're just ready to go. And the full charge takes only roughly 3 hours to complete, which is also pretty fast. During charging, the screen also will automatically rotate in orientation, so you can still use it as a mini alarm or a mini clock when you place it by your desk at night. Taking a look at the user interface next, we have a very clean presentation as far as UI goes. In this particular mode, we're taking a look at the time on the center there, as well as the date on the very top, and on the bottom we have different information showing the status that you're currently in. Right now the watch has detected that I'm sitting down and recording this review. In fact, I've sat down for 11 minutes and that's what it's showing. After you've been sitting for 30 minutes, the Wellograph will tell you to probably stand up and to move around for your health. It's actually going to beep and say it's time to stand up. But after you've walked around, instead of showing the time that you've been sitting down, it's going to display the number of steps like a pedometer down below. Tapping on the top key there allows me to cycle through some of the various modes. This is a visual indicator of the number of steps I've taken today. Once I've reached my daily goal of 10,000 steps, the pyramid will go all the way up to the top of the display, and it's a nice way to take a look at that. The next screen allows you to look at an analog clock, which is the classiest view, and you can see that it works pretty nicely. On the bottom, hit the 20, which indicates the day of the month. And the next view is a more traditional digital clock. You also have access to the battery status indicator on the left-hand corner there, as well as the date on the bottom again. And finally, we'll go back over here. To go through some of the other functions, I tap on the second button on the side. That allows me to go through the various features, such as move, so that goes through the pedometer. Within each of these screens, you can then cycle through to access more information. For example, in the move tab, I can learn how many steps I've taken and how many calories I burn by pressing on the top key again. So I can go left and right through different screens to look at the amount of time I've been active versus idle, a graphical view of the calories I've burned at what time, as well as the number of steps, the weekly steps, and the average steps that I usually take. It's surprisingly accurate and does a great job of representing your data. There are a number of different graphs that you can check out, and the application that you can sync it with on the phone is even better, so it definitely works very nicely. Going down again to the next tab, Sit, also gives you a formatted graph that tells you when you've been idle and when you've been sitting down. It also records the total amount of time that you've been sitting. The best thing about the Wellograph, just like on the Misfit Flash, is that you don't need to tap onto a specific setting or a specific program just to allow the watch to know that you're sitting down or know you've started sleeping. It automatically detects it, and for that, it actually works very accurately. So I can just go to sleep and then wake up in the morning and find how many hours I've slept. So it's very simple and straightforward. The next program list here is the pulse. I can tap on here to take a look at my average. There's even a bell curve that shows you the percentage of your fitness age and how you rank across other users in the same age bracket. Going left and right again, I can also take a look at the readiness test, which is kind of interesting. It uses the heart rate monitor to scan how ready or how excited you are to start moving around or how active you are. It takes your pulse and after it tells you if you're ready to start the day, if you're happy, if your mood is sad, and it's kind of interesting, but it definitely works, and it's an interesting feature that I haven't seen before on other fitness trackers. Moving down again, I have the ability to go back by tapping on two keys at the same time, so I can skip the actual screen there and move on to the next page. So here is the sleep. I can tap on the OK key again to learn more information. It tells you the quality of the sleep by analyzing how many times you've woken up in the night, the time that you've woken up, as well as the average amount of sleep that you receive, and the quality is recorded as well. And of course we go back to run, and that's again mostly all the features there. Going into settings is also a pretty interesting experience. I can turn on Bluetooth or use the watch only and disable all the other features to save on battery life. Tapping on sync there allows the watch to be synced momentarily with my Android phone or tablet. And then I can create a new pairing by tapping on the new pairing tab when setting things up for the first time. Just like with the watch, the application is well designed with great font sizes as well as text that looks pretty classy. Everything is fluid and easy to use. We have access to your movement, your heart rate, the sleep, runs, and also the ability to sync the Wellograph up to the application once you're ready. And there's even a mock competition you can use to compare your results with friends and family that also have a Wellograph. To get a list of more applications and more settings, I can slide to the left there, and that gives me more settings, such as going through a specific tab, checking out my device, and also checking out my user profiles. So for instance, if I'm interested specifically right now in the amount of movements I've had, I can tap on that, and that shows my record for the day, the week, and also the month. It's pretty accurate, and you can also tap on the various icons to learn more information and also to analyze my number of steps and when I've taken those steps and the environments that I was in. Going back here, I can take a look at the sleep, and that works nicely as well. It shows me that I need more sleep for a particular day, and also the sessions I've had last night, last month, and so on and so forth. Here is the average quality presented as well, and also at what day and at what time I slept the most. So all in all, the application is definitely nicely designed and works flawlessly, I would say. I didn't encounter any crashes in the week that I also tested it with, which is doing a quick sync for you guys on camera here. I'm going to turn on the sync, and now the sync mode has been on. I can tap on the sync key in the application. It's going to connect using Bluetooth to the watch. It will take only a few seconds, and afterwards it will also record the data into the cloud, which is the account that you create when you first log into the Wellograph application. And after a few more moments, it should be completed and things should be up to date and you are ready to go. Syncing things is kind of interesting because in a sense, it isn't as easy as the Misfit Flash, where you could just basically pop in the application and press sync and you're ready to go. Whereas on the Wellograph, just to conserve battery, you have to turn on the sync first, and then when you're not using sync, the actual Bluetooth feature is turned off regularly. So that is a difference between that and the Misfit Flash, but everything else seems to be pretty good and automatic. At the end of the day, we think Wellograph makes a convincing argument that a fitness tracker can also dub as a classic watch. The design of the Wellograph is striking. It's attractive to look at and also works flawlessly in terms of syncing with the application. It's smooth, it's responsive, and as a fitness tracker, it definitely excels. The heart rate monitor with its continuous read is something that is a step up from competition such as Samsung, and the solid battery life paired with the number of different functions that you can use to customize the watch with are definitely worth considering. It's also very accurate, so there are 9 accelerometers on board, and if you tried shaking your hand around, maybe just to trick the watch into showing that you've walked more steps, it doesn't work. You have to take an actual step and then it records it. If you're in a car and you're driving around, it also doesn't add any step movement, so it's also very accurate, and everything happens automatically without you having to press anything else. And so again, as a fitness tracker, it indeed excels. However, with this display, I would have liked to see Wellograph add some other smart watch-esque functionalities, perhaps giving you the ability to have a beep whenever a new call or a text message comes in, or maybe even to run some basic applications like the Pebble watch does, because right now it's basically just a smart fitness tracker and the ability for you to tell time. And although, yes, it is a extremely impressive fitness tracker at $300, it still is quite expensive. So to learn more information about the Wellograph, be sure to check out our full written review. This has been our video. Thanks for watching. Here are OS.